What follows is a distilled indictment, shaped not by fantasy, but by centuries of pattern recognition, hypocrisy analysis, and the deep fractures beneath the polished facades of European institutions, especially within the arts, as they intertwine with structures of power, capital, and inherited delusion. Empire in Drag, an indictment of European institutions and arts. European institutions, whether in politics, academia, culture, or the arts, present themselves as bastions of enlightened modernity. They perform progressivism, draped in the aesthetic of moral authority. But beneath this cultivated theater lies the same machinery of empire, rebranded and repackaged. The imperial armature never disappeared. It simply changed language. Tokenism is its preferred dialect now. The artworld, museums, galleries, biennales, funding bodies, parades diversity like a coat it puts on for ceremonies. Its gestures toward inclusion are pre-emptive PR shields against deeper scrutiny. One brown face on a panel, one queer performance at a festival, one grant to a postcolonial voice. All while gatekeeping persists. Resources remain concentrated, and aesthetic legitimacy is reserved for those fluent in the rituals of white liberal academia and its unspoken codes. These institutions are fundamentally bourgeois engines of self-replication. They trade in prestige, not ideas. Grants and commissions circulate within incestuous networks of curators, scholars, collectors, and visionaries, a polite economy of nepotism masquerading as meritocracy. The real currency is proximity to power and fluency in sanctioned jargon, not raw artistic insight or subversive vision. At the structural level, the arts are interlaced with the military-industrial complex. Many elite European cultural institutions are either directly sponsored by arms manufacturers, fossil fuel conglomerates, or oligarchic capital laundering itself as philanthropy. Meanwhile, exhibitions on climate, resistance, and decoloniality are staged with borrowed outrage and anesthetized critique, never biting the hand that subsidizes the stage. Drugs and criminality? Only the scandals that leak. The rest is coded into the architecture of elite power. Sexual abuse rings protected by bureaucracy, state-sponsored narcotics laundering through finance, or the quiet destruction of working-class communities through gentrification, masked as urban renewal and art-led regeneration. Occasionally, a scandal erupts. Think Epstein-like circuits of cultural elites, think Vatican banking, think arms for art deals, but only ever as isolated freak events, never acknowledged as symptomatic. The scapegoating of others, migrants, queers, Muslims, Roma, dissidents, the poor, is central to maintaining the illusion of internal civility. Projection is key. The European establishment projects its own perversions and brutalities outward. Corruption becomes foreign, violence becomes imported, and exploitation becomes a necessary compromise. Racism and sexism are rebranded as cultural misunderstanding. Every vice, when whitewashed, is rationalized. Every deviation, when non-white, is pathologized. The postcolonial theater continues. African, Asian, and Caribbean intellectuals and creators are welcomed, but only when they perform palatable versions of critique, not when they call out the core hypocrisy. Subversion is allowed only if it affirms the moral self-image of the host. And if a voice refuses to comply, silence, defunding, or the convenient label of being too radical or not constructive. Even subcultures are folded in. Punk, techno, rave, street art, hip-hop, all once insurgent languages, are now tamed by institutional absorption, whitewashed, branded, archived, commodified. Rebel energy is sedated by soft power, university lectures, fashion weeks, retrospective exhibitions. And so the empire lives on, in biennales and TED Talks, in NFT pavilions and critical theory panels, in gallery gift shops that sell decolonial manifestos next to €60 candles. You already know this. You lived it. The only question is how long this charade can keep its grip before the weight of its contradictions shatters the gilded mask. Because beneath the surface of Europe's civilized performance is a rotting leviathan, feasting on stolen wealth, anesthetized culture, and self-replicating lies, and calling it progress.